Ooh.
I'm live. I'm not live, but I am live. I'm sorry, Jared, for recording. Okay, so I finally was able to get back into doing this live so I can get you guys all the information for NXT's Halloween Havoc. All right, so here's the deal. Halloween Havoc was a good show. It started at 7. Busted Open Radio was there. I saw the pre-show. There was a little bit of issue with Peacock and their network. I don't know what was going on, but Peacock was having an issue with everything that was happening. I don't know what was happening with my live stream here. Girl, okay. Give me the shoulders. Give me shoulders. Okay, great. Anyways, let me get back to the gray. Good. It's a little blue. Okay. Very good. Okay, so just to give you guys a little heads up, I did go over to Smacking It Raw with Matt and Katie. Shout out to them. I really love being on the pod with them. Matt is hilarious. The puns are hilarious. He's just a really cool, down to earth dude. He's getting ready to have another baby. So congratulations to you and your family. And I love Katie. She's awesome. So I was over there talking with them, chopping it with them about all of wrestling. They talk about everything except for Bound for Glory. I was a little shocked that they didn't talk about Bound for Glory. But we talked about all of the shows leading up to NXT's Halloween Havoc today. So if you guys want to hear my thoughts on everything and everything that Matt and Katie were talking about, which I thought was a very interesting conversation, head on over to Smacking It Raw. Let me put the banner up for Smacking It Raw. Let me see if I can find it. Here we go. Okay, so Smacking It Raw, you can find them through Matt Ritter. Go over there to Twitter, everywhere. You can find them. Smacking It Raw podcast will come up. All you have to do is type in Smacking It Raw, and you can find them on YouTube. You'll find all that information there. I'm going to make sure that next time I put the banner up that the info is correct. Okay? But this is his Twitter. You guys can follow his Twitter and find all his info there as well. He's on TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, everywhere. Twitch, YouTube, the whole 9. He's there. Okay? Anyways, let's get into Halloween Havoc. Okay? So some of my subscribers don't watch my lives regularly, or they can't. So I'm going to go over some things to give people a little bit of backstory so you guys can get a better understanding of the matches that we saw and what it led up to this and how it got to this point. I want to make sure you guys see that. So let's start off with the first match, which is Tony and Oba. So Tony and Oba have been feuding for just a little while. Oba Femi has beaten Tony D'Angelo once before, and Tony D'Angelo was trying to, get a little bit. So to give you guys a little bit more backstory into Oba and Tony, like I said before, they've been feuding back and forth. Tony has met up against Oba Femi once before, and Oba Femi beat him mercilessly. This shook Tony's confidence, and he felt as though he wasn't up to par to go up against Oba Femi. He even went so far as to hire talent to be able to take out Oba Femi, but that was to no avail. Finally, it came down to him having another shot at the title. The family backed him and got him back up to build up his confidence to go after Oba, to which he was able to successfully beat Oba and become champion. Come to find out, Tony D'Angelo laid out a well-crafted and well-laid-out plan to lure Oba Femi into a false sense of security, and this allowed him to be able to basically sneak in and steal that championship from underneath Oba due to his overconfidence. This pissed Oba Femi off to no end. He made it very clear that at Halloween Havoc, this was not going to be the case, and he wasn't going to have his precious family to help him win this match again. This time, Oba Femi made very good on his promise. He attacked Tony's family and made Tony watch as he decimated all of them. Not only that, but Rizzo was attacked by a mysterious woman. Now, after the attack, we saw Oba Femi hand Nikita Lyons her jacket, saying that she dropped it. But of course, we're alluding to the fact that Nikita Lyons could be the one who attacked Rizzo. I'll get to her in a minute. Anyways, this led to a full-on personal brawl between Tony D'Angelo and Oba Femi. I say that this was a very good match. This was a very good way to kick off Halloween Havoc. It was solid. It was perfect. The guys went all out. The only thing is that I think was missing, and I didn't think about this before until I talked with Matt on Smacking It Raw, was that the belt wasn't hanging above the ring, and I felt like it should have been. I thought about it before, and I was like, that's what was missing from that match. In a tables, ladders, and chairs match, or at least in a wherever there's a ladder involved in a ladder match, there usually is a belt hanging above the ring, and you have to capture the title that way. So I thought it was very interesting that they didn't have the belt hanging above the ring. It was sitting on the pedestal on the sidelines, which did make it a glorified DQ match. It was very interesting how Halloween Havoc was set up. But I will say that I did enjoy the match despite some of the aesthetics not being 100% accurate to the match itself. I will say that the match was good. It was fun to watch, and it was very interesting. And I am glad that Tony D'Angelo retained and beat Oba Femi. Now, I know a lot of people are in their feelings about it. Nicole, girl, I can hear you screaming it from the rooftops. I get it. Totally. But Oba Femi is going to move on to bigger and better things. There are two options for Oba at this point. He either can wait his time and go after Trick Williams for that WWE NXT Championship, or he can be pulled to the main roster and really work his way up and become a massive mid-carder and then possibly potentially be a world champion or WWE champion in the very near future. Oba Femi's future is bright no matter what happens. And quite frankly, he just became too big for the championship. So we're going to move on to the next match, which in my opinion was the best match on the card. And that is the tag team match between Giulia and Stephanie Vaquer, and Roxanne Perez and Cora Jade. This match was solid. It was my favorite match on the entire card. All four women performed exceptionally well. There were no hiccups in this match. There was no botches in this match. Everybody was clean and pristine, and everybody played their part. It was pivotal roles being done in this match, and I loved every second of it. Stephanie Vaquer is such an amazing performer. Giulia is a hard-hitting, strong competitor. Roxanne is quick. She's got all the strength, and she just knows how to counter every single move. She's one of those type of wrestlers that you hate to meet in the ring because she always has a plan. And Cora, she rose to the occasion. Her counterparts are obviously better than her, but she was able to make sure she was seen and also look like she was a contender for whatever championship she decides to go after. Cora looked great. All four women did exceptionally well, and Giulia and Stephanie ultimately was able to pick up the win. Now, if you don't know the backstory between Giulia, Roxanne, Cora, and Stephanie, it's fairly simple. The first time that Giulia and Roxanne ever met, Cora Jade interfered in their matchup, and because of that, Giulia had to go and get some backup. So Giulia relied on an old friend in Stephanie Vaquer. They wrestled all over the world, and more specifically, they've wrestled in New Japan against each other. And because after that, they became very good friends. So Giulia enlisted her help, and both of them have been going after Roxanne and Cora since Roxanne and Cora have been going after them ever since. Roxanne and Cora feel very threatened by Giulia and Stephanie's presence. They know that these two women are some of the strongest competitors that NXT has ever seen. And they understand that while there are new people on the horizon, they will ultimately become ousted. And they don't want that. So they're going to fight against the norm, which is to ultimately move on. Sometimes shit gets old, bro. You want something new. You want something fresh. You want something different. And Stephanie and Giulia and Zarya, who showed up at the end after the women won their match, are all a part of the new phase of NXT, including the girls who are already in the back. This is their reset, and this has been a long time coming. The women have been solid in NXT for a very long time. They have always been stable. There's never really been a chance where the women haven't done what they needed to make sure that they were good. But There's always room for improvement. And in my opinion, stronger women, stronger competitors, and stronger rivalries and feuds in the women's division is where it's at. And the only way to do that is to strengthen the division by adding new people. And that is exactly what Shawn Michaels has been doing. And this right here is definitely something you don't want to miss, because you will miss out on some instant classics that are coming down the pike. And as soon as they come, you're going to feel left out. And that FOMO is going to be real. So I suggest that you guys knuckle down and get into NXT now before you miss the boat. Let's move on to the next match. I want to say the next match was the ambulance match between Andre Chase and Ridge Holland. Now, this backstory has been retold over and over again, but just to give you guys a quick synopsis. Ridge Holland joined Chase U. They welcomed him with open arms, as they do anybody who wants to join Chase U. And as soon as Ridge Holland didn't get what he wanted in terms of a retaining of the tag team titles, Ridge Holland turned on Chase U. He beat the hell out of Andre Chase, he beat the hell out of Duke Hudson, and he attempted to beat the hell out of Riley Osborne. But it didn't work out that way. He ultimately did beat up Riley Osborne, but Andre Chase returned a few weeks ago. And he made it very clear that he was going after Ridge Holland, and they were going to be finally meeting in an ambulance match. I quite enjoyed this ambulance match. I thought that this match was fun. It was interesting, and the two men did have a good setup in this match. They did work well. The only problem is Ridge Holland won the match, and there's no guarantee that, Ridge Holland has defeated Chase U and Chase U is now dead. But that was the whole point of Ridge Holland beating Andre Chase from the beginning, was to take out Chase U. My question now is, where do we go from here with Chase U? Like, you really have made it so that there's no end game to this, and you really, to me, you've really taken the fun out of it. This was a misfire, in my opinion, and I feel like you could have gotten more butter from the duck if you had to let Ridge Holland lose this match. And I think that he should have lost and then went apeshit on Bubba Ray. You see, earlier in the night, Ridge Holland went to Bubba Ray and basically was like, I did exactly what you've done. I'm not crazy, really advocating for his actions against Andre Chase and Chase U. But, Bubba Ray wasn't having it. First time he let him get away with it. Second time he did it, Bubba Ray was like, that's twice. That's twice that you've come, interrupted me, and came and interrupted me and my partner doing our job. I'm not going to let you do it again. Go about your business. That's pretty much what he said. Now, he walked away. I kind of wish that Ridge Holland lost the match, overheard Bubba Ray talking smack about him, and then he went to him, and then that's where this fight came from. Because later on in the night, Ridge Holland shows up again, which I'll get to in a moment. In this match, the next match, between... Thank you, honey. Kelani had a match with one of the members of Fatal Influence, actually all three members of Fatal Influence. Kelani ended up having a gauntlet match with all three members, and she also ended up losing her championship because of it. Fatal Influence has decided that Kelani was the best shot at them having some power and control in this company, right? But that didn't last too long either. Kelani ended up losing her title in a gauntlet match against all three members. It started off with Jasmine, the weakest of the three, went to JC, and then Fallon. Not only did she have to go through all three women, but JC also did a sneak attack on her, and they ended up stealing her championship from her in the end. Because all three members were out there as the match progressed, Jasmine tried to interfere, and so did JC James. She ended up losing her championship to Fallon. Fallon is now your new Women's North American Champion. But that is not for long, because Daria not only showed up in the first women's match to let them know that she was there, but in this particular match, she attacked all three members of Fatal Influence and laid them out clean. Daria has made it very clear where her target is. And she is going to go after Fatal Influence and more than likely become your next Women's North American Champion. I'm not mad per se that Kelani lost her title. I'm mad at how it was done. I think I would have fared better if it was just a regular one-on-one match and Kelani was, screwed. But they had to stack the deck against her, and she ended up losing. Not only she won 2 of the matches, but lost the last one. And Kelani had to go through 3 women to maintain her title. They had to use all 3 members of the group in order for Fallon to become champion. I don't know, y'all. It left a sour taste in my mouth, but Matt kind of was like, yo, it took 3 women to take her out, and Kelani still looked strong in the end. And he's right. It's just, I love the way Kelani carried herself. She really, really was somebody that I knew had the stuff in her to be great. And she was a great inaugural North American champion. She took on all comers, including her own friends. She did exceptionally well. So I was very proud of her. And I was sad that it had to end this way. But Fatal Influence ain't going to be champions for long, in my opinion. And Fallon's ass is a transitional champion, which thank God for that. The final blows or throws of Halloween Havoc goes to Ethan Page and Trick Williams in the Devil's Playground match. Ethan Page and Trick Williams essentially had a no disqualification street fight, according to Matt and Smacking It Raw, which he's right. There wasn't a lot of Devil's Playground going on. They didn't use a lot of the props that were on the stage. There was so much they could use that they didn't. And I low-key wish that they did, because it would have made the match just a little bit better. Their match fell a little flat, but it wasn't because they didn't do anything, but they had hyped it up so much. And then they get to the dance and they don't deliver as well as they could have. I just wish they would have went a little bit harder in this match than they did. Trick Williams ended up winning the match because he went where Ethan Page went. He went blow for blow, battle for battle. But after the match was over, Ridge Holland ends up attacking Trick Williams. And Ethan Page and Ridge Holland team up against Trick Williams. And that's when Bubba Ray comes in. So now we get the understanding of what's going to happen in a few weeks at NXT 2300. It seems that they're building up to Bully Ray being in a tag team with Trick Williams, facing off against Ridge Holland and Ethan Page. Now, here are some little side things that were happening on Halloween Havoc that I want to get to, and then I will be out your hair, ladies and gentlemen. Tatum Paxley was inside the box because this past Tuesday, she got put in the box by Wendy Choo. Now, just recently, Wendy Choo got beat up by her own friend and fellow demon Rosemary, took her out, okay? So, Wendy Choo was nowhere to be found, but Tatum Paxley popped up out of one of those boxes that Wendy Choo put her in. She came out, Ava came out, and Ava was like, hey, I know you want to get at Wendy Choo, and I promise you, you will have a match against Wendy at NXT 2300. I think it was 2300. Or it's going to be next week. I'm not sure. I don't remember. It's been a long night. So, she was like, I have a better idea. She spins the wheel. And they have a casket match. It has been so long since I've seen a casket match, and I cannot freaking wait until this match. This is going to be so much fun. I think Wendy and Tatum are going to kill it in this casket match. I cannot wait. We also saw the tag team champions in Javon and Cedric. Both of them are mulling over the idea of wrestling each other. Javon questioned whether he went too far slapping Nathan Frazier. And Cedric essentially told him that no, he shouldn't have done it, but he's glad that he did, because his actions have led to them possibly actually getting a tag team title match. And he's excited about that. He says sometimes you got to cause a little mayhem, to get the party started, to get the ball rolling. And I agree. I think that everything can't always be sweet. You can't always, turn the other cheek. Sometimes you got to cause a little mayhem. Sometimes you got to let a nigga know you can't just talk to me any kind of way. You can't just come up to me and rub shit in my face and think I'm just going to be cool with that. Because the world don't work that way, babe. You know what I'm saying? Anywhoosies. Also, we saw Nathan Frazier and Axiom talking it out, and it didn't seem that Frazier and Axiom are on the same page. Axiom feels like Frazier overstepped, and Frazier seems to think that because he got the okay to be a dick from Randy Orton, that it's okay for him to behave that way, and that is something that Axiom pointed out to Nathan Frazier. I think this is the last time we're going to see Nathan Frazier and Axiom as the tag team champions. I think it's time for them to move on to bigger and better things, whether it be separately or together. And lastly, Rizzo. She made it very clear that this coming Tuesday, she was going to challenge the person who attacked her. Now, I do not believe that it is Nikita, but if it is Nikita, it'll be an interesting match. Rizzo hasn't gone up against an opponent like Nikita yet, but I've seen Rizzo perform before, and she works very well. So it'd be interesting to see how they perform and everything that they're going to do in this match. But I think that this is going to be a surprise. I think this is going to be a totally different person that attacked her, somebody that nobody is expecting. Everybody's expecting it to be Nikita, but I'm going to hold out and say that it isn't Nikita and it's somebody else. I'm not sure who it is, but it's definitely not going to be Nikita. At least I don't think so. With that being said, we got so much on the horizon. Crown Jewel is coming up. That is going to be this coming Saturday. It's going to be a massive card for Crown Jewel, y'all. I think I have all the Crown Jewel matches loaded. 1 second. So Crown Jewel has some matches that have been added over the last couple of days. And I'm going to go over those and the matches that we already knew about. So the women's tag team titles are being contested this Saturday at Crown Jewel. You have Bianca and Jade, the current tag team champions, up against Piper and Chelsea, Damage Control, and Cora and Lash of Metaphor. This setup is awesome. I think they're going to have a very good match at Crown Jewel. But this Saturday, they also have a fatal four-way match with just one member of each team. Cora, Lash, Bianca, Io, and Piper will all compete in a fatal four-way match on Friday, which will lead to their Crown Jewel match as a team in the fatal four-way on Saturday. Crown Jewel starts at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Please remember that, because the playback for Crown Jewel or for PLEs in general are a little weird on Peacock. So if you miss the time, you will miss Crown Jewel in its entirety. It starts at 1 p.m. Don't forget that. Moving on, this past Friday, LA Knight sealed his fate when he interfered in the Game 7 of the Best in 7 series between Andrade and Carmelo Anthony Hayes. Carmelo Hayes. Look, I said Game 7, all right? It's basketball. I can't help it. It's Carmelo Hayes. Anyways, this was Nick Aldis' fault. I blame Nick Aldis for this because you put this man in a position where he could interfere, where you should have left him out of it and let fate decide who was going to be the winner and possible new challenger again for LA Knight. Then if LA Knight interfered in the match in the finale, then you could, do what you do. But making him the special guest referee in this Best of 7 series was not a good move. However, this has led to a triple threat at Crown Jewel. I think this is going to be a fun match. Do I think LA Knight will walk out with the championship? It's possible, but I don't know. I don't know. Okay? And finally, we have this match between Seth freaking Rollins and Bronson Reed. This matchup between these two has become volatile due to Bronson Reed's necessity to be known and to make a name for himself. His need overrode his sanity, and now he has unleashed the craziest version of Seth freaking Rollins, who is relentless at making sure he gets his lick back on anybody who does what Bronson Reed has done to Seth freaking Rollins. He has awoken the monster. So we'll see how this all plays out. This probably is the most personal of personal feuds on the entire card. And it obviously I think it has one of the best storylines on the card itself. This is going to be an interesting setup for this particular match. I am looking forward to it. I'm curious as to how Seth will fare against Bronson Reed in his massive frame. We'll see how this all plays out. Now, the two matches that have started it all are the inaugural Crown Jewel Championship matches. These are champion versus champion matches, and these two beautiful belts that are going to be up for grabs. We're going to start off with the men. Our lovely American Nightmare and current WWE Universal Champion Cody Rhodes is facing off against none other than Imperium's Ring General Gunther. Now, Gunther has made it very clear he makes no apologies about being the number one guy, and he has no care in the world for what the fans want, what you want, I want, anybody wants. He doesn't give a shit about any of that. All he cares about is me. M-E, what I want. And I want to be the number one guy, and I want to face the best of the best, and I want to beat everybody. And the only way I can do that is if I beat the hell out of you. I want to be the first Crown Jewel champion. It's never we. It's never about them. It's just about me. And me collecting championships and titles and being the guy. That's all he cares about. Cody, on the other hand, understands the role, the weight, and the responsibility of being a champion in a company like the WWE. And he doesn't take it for granted. In fact, he relishes in it. And he encourages those who come behind him to do the same. He and Gunther are two sides of the same coin. One of them or both of them desire to be champion, but for different reasons. And while I appreciate both of their prowess, I do think that the best decision is to let Cody be the one to become your inaugural Crown Jewel champion. Not because I want Cody to be at the top of the mountain of everything, just because it would make for a better feud down the line when we come to Crown Jewel next year again, and whoever is champion at that time will be able to face off against the Crown Jewel champion, I guess. Or maybe they'll have some type of tournament to decide who takes on the current Crown Jewel champion. Who knows how they're going to defend this championship going forward. They've got a few more years left in Saudi, and they're probably going to renew that deal. Although with me, I probably would never renew that deal. But who knows how this is going to play out. However, I think it just would be interesting when Cody finally turns heel and becomes Homelander. We'll get to see a heel Crown Jewel champion, and that'll kind of be fun to see who would be the one to compete against a heel Cody Rhodes. I would absolutely love that. I don't know, though. I'm very curious as to how this would play out. I mean, Gunther is Gunther, and while I love Gunther, he's not high-key entertaining in terms of storylines. He's very much a one-note kind of guy. He picks you apart and makes fun of you like a typical bully, and then Gunther beats the hell out of you in the ring. Ring-wise, he's very fun to watch in the ring. But setting up a story and then moving forward, Gunther isn't that type of guy. And I don't know, I like a little bit more excitement leading into Crown Jewel. Since this is one of those pay-per-views that a lot of people skip, I would like for them to make it so that it's unskippable. You know what I mean? Moving on to the final match, or the second match to this one. I guess you could say the sister match. It's the women's first ever Crown Jewel champion. And our reigning, defending WWE Women's Champion Nia Jax, the Annihilator, will face off against the ever-cunning Liv Morgan, our current Women's World Champion. Now, these two, again, are two sides of the same coin. Both of them want to be champion for different reasons, and rightfully so. I mean, Nia Jax has earned the right to call herself champion. And while I understand and respect Nia's plight, Liv Morgan, while many disagree that she's earned her right, I'm one of them. She is the current women's champion, and she has a claim to this inaugural Crown Jewel Championship as well. If I had to pick who I thought was going to win, I'm hoping it's Nia Jax that wins. I don't want Liv Morgan to have anything else to brag and laugh about on this damn show. I don't. Tired of seeing that woman in the bags under her eyes, cheesing with her mouth wide in front of everybody. I'm just sick of it. So give it to Nia. Let Nia have it. Let her flaunt herself, and she could be the Miss Get Bag and the big bitch on campus, okay? Give it to her. Give it all to her. I don't care. Just don't give it to Liv Morgan. Please. Spare me, goddammit. Spare me. Anyways, for now, these are all the matches that are on the card for Crown Jewel. I will give y'all my predictions quickly. Like I said, we got Nia Jax, Cody Rhodes. I'm going to reserve this one because I feel like this could go either way, and I'm very interested in this match. I think LA Knight will retain. He needs to have some more opponents. He's already beaten these two, and quite frankly, I do think because he's already beaten them, there's no need for this type of match. But I understand it. I get it. There was interference in both of the matches he had with both of these men. It's just, once I beat you, I don't want to see you again. And I feel like that LA Knight hasn't had a true opponent, a true villainous opponent yet that he can go bar for bar and that actually causes him some discomfort. I really want that to happen. So I'm going to give it to LA Knight to retain. And then, of course, I don't know. The ball is not in Bianca and Jade's court in this one. They have a 25% chance of retaining their championships. And the last time they were in this style of match where there were more than just one opponent against them, they didn't fare well. They ended up losing those tag team titles. I don't know. I'm kind of hoping that of the latter, that these two retain and they move forward accordingly. I'm curious as to how this is going to play out because I think that Jade and Bianca will retain, and then I think I'm going to reserve what I think is going to happen next. But I want Jade and Bianca to retain at Crown Jewel, so this could lead to some other problems. I forgot a match. Randy Orton begged for this match with Kevin Owens, and Triple H reluctantly agreed to give Randy Orton this match against KO. KO seems to be a very unhinged, even more dangerous version of his former self. And it seems that he is hell-bent on exacting revenge on those who he believes has betrayed him to the utmost. And Randy Orton seems to be one of those people. Now, Triple H said that he did everything in his power to protect him from Kevin Owens, not protect Kevin Owens from Randy Orton. Randy Orton was like, listen, I don't want to hear that shit. I want a match with Kevin. End of the goddamn story. If you was in my shoes, you would be doing the same thing. So he gave him the match. He told him, remember, you asked for this. And that's where he left it. This leads me to believe that Kevin Owens is going to be even more unhinged than he was before. And quite frankly, he is going to be your next villain. Your next big, massive villain is going to be none other than Kevin Owens. And it's been a very long time since KO has been his old villainous self. But I'm going to say that Kevin Owens is going to be even more vicious than he was before. And this new villain of Kevin is going to be even more hateful, cruel, and menacing, especially if Sami Zayn ends up joining back with the Bloodline to take on the new Bloodline. Oh, this is going to be poetic as to how this is going to play out for Kevin. With all that being said, ladies and gentlemen, let's get into the next set of PLEs that are going to be coming down the pike for WWE. So the next one is War Games. War Games is on another Saturday. It is November 30th, and it is going to be in Vancouver. All right. War Games is setting up nicely for both of the men's and women's War Games. I have a sneaky suspicion that in War Games is going to be Rhea Ripley and her team versus Liv Morgan and hers. You already know that Liv Morgan is going to have Raquel on her team. And there will probably be a few others, which I will make a video about that later on this week as to who I believe will be on the War Games teams and why they more than likely would be there.
Detroit is plus 100.
All right. So, like I said, Survivor Series is going to be in Vancouver on November 30th. We also have a full listing of the other PLEs for the next year. So, after Survivor Series is Main Event. Main Event is on December 14th, 2 days after my birthday. Happy birthday to me. And this is going to be likened to a PLE. So, this is definitely a premium live event, and everybody is welcome to watch, obviously. Then in February, on the 1st, is the Royal Rumble, and it's going to emanate live from Indianapolis. All right, this is going to be on February 1st. They've pushed this back in a couple of days because usually Royal Rumble is like on the 30th of January. So for it to be on February 1st is different. It's unprecedented for WWE to move their PLEs, especially the big ones like Royal Rumble. I'm sure there'll be a PLE in between Royal Rumble and WrestleMania, but the next big PLE is WrestleMania emanating from Vegas, which the 2-day tickets for the Vegas Mania are insane, and people are losing their goddamn minds. Okay? Hopefully, by the time Mania rolls around, the ticket prices will calm down, okay? But Ticketmaster is doing a number on people's wallets. And a lot of people are mad. They're blaming WWE, but Ticketmaster has something called dynamic pricing. And while I've been informed that they can request that Ticketmaster lower the prices, it's still at Ticketmaster's discretion to keep the prices at the price that they have set or lower them at the urgence of the actual event holders. I don't think that Ticketmaster has ever lowered the prices at the request of the event holder. There have been a number of artists that wanted those ticket prices lowered for their particular shows, and Ticketmaster doesn't listen. They go by the demand. The dynamic pricing model in development goes by the demand of the tickets. Mania is a hot commodity. It's second to only the Super Bowl, and it has only gotten bigger since Triple H has taken over. So before you blame WWE and say WWE is trying to dig in your pockets, they're not the ones selling the tickets. Ticketmaster is the one who has their dynamic pricing model, and this is what's causing the uprise in the tickets. The higher the demand, the higher the price, unfortunately. And finally, SummerSlam is set for a first ever 2 nights over in New Jersey. They paid almost $4 billion for the show. So I hope it's worth it. Y'all will never be Cleveland, but sure. Go off, sis. We love that for you. Saturday, August 2nd and Sunday, August 3rd in 2025. Thank you so much for listening to me rant and rave and ramble. I will see you guys tomorrow. Well, currently later on today because it's 1 o'clock in the morning. I'll see you guys then, and we'll be talking all about Monday Night Raw and everything that's been going on. And then we will do a recorded video for NXT so I can keep up with my posts and everything. But y'all make sure y'all come back. Come on back. Because we have a lot to talk about. Love yous. Bye.
If you don't want to see me, if you don't wanna see me, did a full 180, crazy, thinking about the way I once did. The heartbreak change me, baby, but look at where I ended up. I'm open already, so moved on.